Okay. Alright. Nampak tak?
Nampak,
Yeah.
Madam.
Yes. Okay. Alright, if I can share, thank you. Okay, let's see if I can share the your. I try to look with my. It should be time. Whatever lah, emotion. How do you feel about the topic? Psychological test. Oh, lagging ke? Oh, tak ada orang menjawab saya. Patutlah. Lagging eh? Hi, hello. Can you hear me? Oh, putus-putus ya? Okay, I was asking, how do you feel about this topic? Psychological testing and measurement. Topik dia assessment, measurement. How do you feel about this? Walaupun kita belum start, you have some initial atau first feeling about it. It's about experiment. Okay. Okay, so this is about an experiment. Yang lain. Are you saying something? Related psychology. Okay. Test tu sangat broad ya. What kind of test?
Measurement.
Measurement, okay, ukuran, okay, ambil pita ukur, you get a measure to measure something, ukuran pakaian, alright, not that kind of measurement. Kita buat ukuran, correct? Okay, yes. Okay, psychological test is about. Yes, is also a part of agreement. Scales, betul. Sekarang kalau kita buat centimeter, untuk psikologi, macam mana kita nak scales ya? Kalau bagus tu, macam mana? Okay, good questions. These are some of the questions you saw already. Okay, all right. Those who actually answered, yes, what you answered is correct. Okay, maksudnya itulah yang kita akan belajar dalam semester ini, and for this subject, that is the things that you're going to study. Okay, means that you're going to study about tests, about measurement, about what kind of scales that you're going to implement to measure a person's psychological psychological aspect. Okay, what are things that you akan kaji? So that is why, okay, we as a psychologist, selalunya kalau if related to research kan, okay, is either we observe things, is either we collecting data. So now how the question is how we going to collect those data? Because ni yang kita akan kaji ni adalah manusia. Who are we going to experiment with? Who are we going to collect the data from? A human being. Human being is very subjective. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of things for us to measure. Okay. In fact, one person to another person pun sangat berbeza. Okay, siapa yang dah ambil personality, you should know that we have different kind of personality, different characteristics, right? Okay, now how are we going to measure each and every one, okay, dengan personality yang berbeza, character yang berbeza, and you can conclude it into one answer to explain people's behavior. Very broad, sangat besar bidang ini. Okay, it's very broad for us to study, for us to kaji, for us to do a research about. But we are going to learn about the standardized of doing tests. Okay, sebab itu kita perlu menstandardkan, okay, how to call that? To standardize lah, okay, to standardize everything that we're going to kaji, okay, that we're going to measure, so that we can come up with a conclusion, okay, a conclusions that also can represent to the population. Sebab tu kita perlukan samples. Okay, so this topic, one of the topics that you need to have a basic of research method, qualitative research, and some basic of statistics, so that you can understand this. That is why this subject ini selalu diletakkan di akhir. Okay, where before you taking project paper, atau you tengah ambil project paper, ataupun you dah ambil all the research method subjects. Betul tak? I'm sure you are in a final sem now. Amir, are you in a final now? Or in your year? What is that? I cannot hear.
Tahun 2, madam. Baru masuk tahun 2.
Tahun 2. Tapi dah ada asas research method kan?
Ada.
Ada. Okay. All right. So should be no problem with this lah. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. What is testing and assessments defined? Okay. We're going to assess and do testing. So first of all, testing. Testing is a process of measuring psychological related variable. Kita nak test. Okay. So we're going to measure some things that related to psychology. So means that we need to have a device. Mesti ada something, a tools or procedures, okay, on how to collect the samples of behavior. Like I said earlier on, we have a lot of samples of behavior, but how are we going to collect all those data? It's through observing only. Okay, what kind of things that for you to jot down? What kind of observations, criteria that you need to take for you to jot down, okay, dan boleh menyimpulkan this is the behavior that you are looking at. Okay, so we need something, we need a device ataupun tools for you to test them. Okay, contohnya kita kalau nak menguji kemahiran seseorang, kemahiran dalam menggunakan komputer, okay, skills how to use a computer, you need to test them. Okay, how to test? You must have a set of questions, a set of procedure, and ask the persons to do it. Okay, hands on it. Okay, bila dia dah buat dan mencapai sesuatu standard, therefore you can know the level of the skills that the persons have. So that is also how we measure psychological variable. We need to test it. Okay, so one of the other things is that we need to know is the assessment. What is assessment? Okay, this is where we collect the data. The gathering and integrations of psychology-related data for the purpose of making psychological evaluations through the tools such as test, interview, case study, behavioral observations, and other methods. Maksudnya, ini adalah satu proses where we gather and integrate the data that we have. Kita collect the data, okay, we kumpulkan all the related data, okay, put it together and starting to do evaluations, penilaian, okay. How to do that? Using the testing method, okay, through tools, through whatever test, interview ke, case study ke, observation ke, experiment, tadi Farhana mentioned experiment, all this, whatever method that you use, it is an assessment, okay. So I hope that you can understand the differences between testing and assessment. The test is the device and the procedure. The assessment is the process, the whole process of how you're getting the data. Okay? All right. So next. So test and assessment, the objective of testing is typically to obtain, okay, some gauge, some evaluations, usually in a numerical nature, right, with regard to an ability or a attribute. Okay, tak kisah dia apa bentuk pun, before that, the ability ke, attribute ke, intelligent ke, but all this you need to convert it. Convert it di dalam bentuk numerical. Numerical tu maksudnya number lah, ring. Okay, so it's either you can design it ataupun define it. Let's say, kalau dia mahir sahaja, you can put as 1. Kalau dia sangat mahir, you can put as 2. Kalau dia sangat-sangat mahir, you can put as 3. So you convert whatever you observe into a numerical value. Okay, so assessment is a typical to answer the questions, to solve a problem. Maksudnya this is a process lah, how to answer the question, have referral question, okay, what kind of question you can refer to, okay, to solve a problem, or with a decisions, means you do evaluations, okay, through the tools of evaluations lah, okay. All right, there are few types of assessment. One is collaborative psychological assessment, okay, which is the assessor, maksudnya orang yang mengassess dia, orang yang memberikan assessment tu, and assessee, maksudnya orang yang diuji, okay, work as a partner, right? So saling bekerja sama untuk mendapatkan evaluations. For example, like you as a psychologist ataupun yang tengah buat project paper ni, okay, you definitely will have a tools ataupun questionnaire. Okay, you need a help from your respondents. Okay, jadi you distribute a questionnaire for the respondents. The respondent answer and they give feedback to you. So collaborative, there's a collaborative of how to assess, or collaborative on to answering assessment. Okay, maksudnya you bekerja sama untuk menyelesaikan this research. Okay, to undergo this research. So this is a collaborative psychological assessment. So bekerja sama. Sebab they're willing to bekerja sama. Sebab itu kita selalu we will ask for consent. Are you willing to participate, voluntarily participate in this research? So that is a part of collaborative psychological assessment. Okay. So next one is therapeutic psychological assessment. This is where it's involved therapeutic. Okay, therapy, like therapeutic self-discovery is encouraged through assessment process. So di mana assessor akan assess the assessee in the method of therapy. Okay, what kind of therapy? Mungkin dia akan bagi tools, bagi blocks, okay, to the assessee. Okay, dia akan buat blocks tu. Okay, dia akan melihat, okay, what is the result from there. Tujuannya adalah untuk apa? Okay, the reason, the objective of this therapeutic psychological assessment is to amend the behavior, to amend the behavior, like behavior modification, okay, to help a person's in improving their perspective, improving their cognitive, okay. So that is what we call as therapeutic. They wanted to alter or effective or the way of how they think. Okay, kalau collaborative is different, where sebenarnya dia hanya memberikan data, just giving a data for you to assess. Okay, so far understand? Faham ke dalam dua perbezaan ini, collaborative and therapeutic psychological assessment? Okay, good. All right, so next. Now, how are you going to see an assessment? So this is what we call as a dynamic assessment. Yeah? Dynamic. Perkataan dynamic tu maksudnya very progressing, improving. Okay, so dynamic assessment is typically employed in educational setting. Okay, what is educational setting? that we want to educate something, okay? So, but also may be used in correctional. So, therapeutic tadi, okay, the therapeutic assessment is more onto correctional lah. Okay, can be used in correctional, corporate, or neuropsychological or clinical and other setting as well. So, how to do a dynamic setting is where you give evaluation. Okay, you give evaluation untuk mendapatkan data. Okay, tengok dia stress level tu tinggi ke tak. That is one of evaluations lah. And that is a part of collaborative assessment. Okay, so lepas dia membuat ujian, okay, answer your question, you have done the evaluation, you nampak, oh, dia punya level of stress are so high. Then you do intervention. Okay, interventions, what kind of intervention? It also can involve any kind of assessment. Okay, interventions like doing some activities, doing therapeutic session, okay, counseling, that is intervention. So setelah membuat that intervention, you distribute back the same tools. It's either the same tools ataupun another higher level tools. Okay, yang itu nanti the assessor akan define lah. Okay, what kind of tools are the best. So usually kita akan memberi ujian yang sama, the evaluation early on, to test back what is the level. Adakah dia telah menurun? If yes, means your intervention tu berjaya. If not, means that something wrong with your intervention. You need to create another new interventions, new correctional method, okay? Or maybe other method. Maybe your interventions are not suitable with the respondent itself. So, need to do it again. Okay, so this is what is a dynamic assessment, di mana beri evaluation first, you do interventions, and later on you re-evaluate it again. Okay. Now, what are the tools of psychological assessment? So we have tests. Kita dengar kan ada test. What kind of test? Okay, we are so familiar with survey, instrument. Okay. Right, we distribute the questionnaire. Okay, so that is a part of the test, the device that we're going to use. Okay, so the test or the device that we use are to measure variables that are related to psychology. Okay, kalau we say test biasa-biasa, okay, SPM pun test, apa lagi? STPM pun test, your final exam test, quiz pun test, right? Okay, but for psychological assessment test, okay, some that must related to psychology. Okay, di mana, like for example, is to test your intelligence, to test your attitude, test what personality traits you have, what interests that you do involve in. So those are what we call psychology related test. Okay, dan setiap satu test ini hanya boleh mencari atau one thing. For example, intelligence test cannot use this same test to measure ataupun to identify personality test. Okay, tidak boleh. So mesti related to it. Contohlah, like BM test boleh menguji your BI test, betul? So that's the same concept lah. So psychological tests are very different from the content. Okay, from the format itself, how you distribute or how you takbirkan, administer it. Okay, and means how you conduct it. Okay, how you score it is different. Input berbeza dan technical quality pun sangat berbeza. So that's why apabila kita distribute test, when we distribute any test, we need to go through a training first. We need to go through a briefing first before you distribute ataupun you administer a test. Okay, so itu sangat berbeza. We need to understand the behind of each test. Now, maybe you can ask, maybe some of you already started to ask, why do we need to study psychological testing? Okay, now psychologists, you as a psychologist, one of our kemahiran or the skill we need to have is to do bukan menjawab ya, okay, not to answer a test, but to develop a test. Okay, so now when we develop a test, we cannot just simply how to say ambil mana-mana ayat, okay, create a sentence, okay, itu dia nampak suara dia macam wanted to test a personality. Okay, kita buatlah. Okay, are you an extrovert person? We cannot just do just like that. Okay, kita kena ada, we need to have a very strong basic or foundation theory or grounded theories or knowledge about the psychological variable that you nak kaji. Okay, you wanted to test off. Okay, so you need to study in detail. And why setiap item yang you develop tu, we need the content the content. Okay, you need to know the interpretation very well, how interpret it, the technicality behind it, how score it, mesti ada scoring dia. Alright, okay, so this is one of the skills that you kena mahir sebenarnya as a psychologist. So far okay ke? Ada rasa seram ke? Okay, alright. So by the end of this course, this subject, you're supposed to know how to come up with your own test lah. Okay, so no one can question you anymore in the future. Ni pelajar sakit, mereka memang mahir untuk buat assessment. So this is one of the big skills that we need to master. Alright, very good. Next. Now, okay, the content. Okay, what do we need to see in the content? So the subject matter of the test. We need to know what is the subject matter. Contohnya, you want to kaji stress. So kontennya mesti berkenaan dengan stress, subject matter. You want to kaji tentang intelligence. It must be something related to intelligence. Okay, so the content depends on the theoretical orientation of the test developers. Okay, and the unique way in which they define the construct of interest. So you must, whatever you construct, whatever question, whatever tools, okay, must related to the subject matter. Right? Okay, what are the format? The format, the form, okay, rupa form itu, the plan out, the structure, the layout of the test items should be in the consideration. You should consider it. Kenapa dia mesti like a scale 5? Kenapa like a scale 7? Kenapa mesti urutan dia alternate, maybe. Okay, you want to put it as an alternate sequence. Okay, there mesti ada reason behind it. And one of it is like, for example, time limit. Kadang-kadang kita lupa, we distribute questionnaire. You give to the respondent. You put at the counter, for example, counter, whoever wanted to collect test and answer. Okay, maybe you put it for 1 month. Okay, all right. But have you actually checked? Time is also one of part that can play an important role untuk menentukan their behavior. Sebab kadang-kadang some of the behavior, like for example stress, we're talking about stress again. Stress can be defined as it's the feelings that they have at that particular moment within 6 months event. 6 months of the event, contohnya, mungkin the past 6 months dia ada trauma event. Maka the trauma event can contribute stress di dalam 6 months period. But after 6 months, mungkin orang tu dah immune, tak rasa apa-apa. Maka the event itself tidak memberi kesan. Okay? Maka if let's say you distribute a test after 6 months of the past of that particular person's punya event yang dia mengalami, mungkin tak valid. Jawapannya tak sama seperti apa you nak. Okay, you want to identify sebenarnya stress ke tak. But because you distribute it after that, maka tak nampaklah jawapan yang sebenar. Nah, Can you hear me now? I'm sure you can hear the alarm as well. Okay. Alright. So itu adalah format lah, ha? Time limit. Next is administration. Okay, administration is test require a certain task to perform. Okay, how you administer it. So you need to have a trend observation. Kena belajar macam mana observe. Okay, or do involvement in the test administrate. Contohnya self-report questionnaire. Self-report questionnaire maksudnya you distribute the questionnaire pada respondent, dia sendiri-sendiri menjawab. Okay, bukan sendiri-sendiri menjawab, sorry. Dia menjawab tentang diri dia. Contoh soalannya adalah, I think that I am a naughty person. Self-report. Kalau dia kata yes, yelah. Kalau no means no. Self-report. Report tentang diri sendiri. Okay? So, this thing, whatever test that you administer, kena ada training dulu. Okay? You need to do certain task, certain training. Okay? How to answer it, kena bagi training. Okay? To any respondent. Ataupun at least a briefing. Okay, give a briefing for the persons who are going to answer it. So administration. Next, score and interpretation means that you need to understand the score. You need to know how to interpret it. Okay, so some tests can be interpreted easily, but or being interpreted by the computer. Memang if you do a system, computer system related. And then convert it to the computer automatically can interpret for you. Okay, contohnya some online test. Okay, lepas you buat online test, at the end of the test you automatically dapat result. Betul? Okay, so that is interpreted by the computer. Tapi coding tu of course daripada kita lah, manusia. Now, where else some tests you need to have an expertise, like for example, clinical psychologist ke untuk interpret it. Okay, related to the subject matter lah. Kalau subject matter tu tentang abnormality of a person's health, psychological health matters, so you kena dapatkan psychologist, psychiatric ke, ataupun counselor to give the answer, to interpret it. Okay, so cut score is where a line to identify either you pass ataupun fail. So what is the cut scoring there? Okay, so yang ini pun you need to identify. Okay, how to do all this identification? Let me see. Next. Okay, all right. A part of that, okay, technical quality kena tahu juga. How good is the quality of the psychometric itself? Okay, how good is the measurement? Okay, so it depends on consistently, accurately to test it. So inilah yang melibatkan reliability and also the valid of the test itself. How accurate the test to measure the things itself. So now again, come back to my question. How to make sure you know how to do all this? Macam mana kita boleh tahu, macam mana kita boleh to perform all this in a better quality, in a good way, in a correct way. Okay, that's where you need to do practice. You need to know the procedures. Okay, you need to study, like I said earlier on, kena ada ground foundations of each and every of the test itself. The subject matter, how to develop it, and so on. Okay, so itulah yang dipanggil, that is what we call to do a psychological test and also to assess a test. So people who do this test are what we call as the psychometrics, or what we call as psychometricians. So in the future, if you think that you are so good in this field, you have very good skills in doing a psychological test, why not become a psychometrician? Not necessarily menjadi psychologist. It's a part of psychology actually. Okay, no, I mean not necessarily become a counselor, psychology, clinical psychology. You also can become a psychometricians. Okay, so it's one of the jobs that you can involve in. Okay, now for your information, our industrial advisor for our department, okay, is a psychometrician. Okay, one day I think I will ask Safik to request our industry advisor to give some talks on how to do this psychometric. Okay, dia sangat-sangat berpengalaman. Okay, even exam that related to international test lah. Okay, international test. She's one of the persons who create the attributes for and to identify persons punya test level, whether dia pass ke tak. Okay, so sepatutnya accurate lah, accurate. Setiap test yang you buat kena accurate. Macam mana kita nak tahu dia accurate ke tak? Okay, must be consistent lah. Okay, contohnya person A menjawab dengan person B yang menjawab, jawapannya harusnya konsisten. Okay, let's say A and B have the same character. The answer from the test is supposed to be the same as well. Okay, so that is consistent. Okay. Saya dapat mendengarkan saya.
Madam.
Wait, yes.
Maksudnya
Yes, Sarah.
bila nak contoh buat terapi kan, for example macam nak tengok orang tu punya personality, lepas tu means that the psychologist tu kena panggil like the psychometrician untuk buatkan the personality test macam tu. So dia two different people lah tu.
Okay. Yes. A person who make the test, okay, they are the psychometricians. A person who administer the test, okay, like for example, just now you say like clinical or therapy, it can be a clinical psychologist, but a clinical psychologist also can develop a test, no problem. Okay, tak ada masalah dalam situ. Tapi portfolio dia sebenarnya orang yang boleh membuat terapi, so that's why he can be a therapist or he can be a clinical psychologist. Okay, and he also has played a role as a psychometrician. Okay, psychometricians, if you say that you are a psychometrician, kerja you adalah psychometrician, memang maksudnya kerja dia adalah memang buat test saja. Okay, which related to psychology lah. Okay, dia buat test sahaja. Tapi if you are a clinical psychologist, not to say that you cannot do psychometrician. I mean, you cannot be, you cannot. If you are a clinical psychologist, you also can be a psychometrician as a role sebagai satu peranan. Tetapi biasanya orang yang dah so much involved in clinical psychology, contohnya kan tak ada masanya dia nak buat test lah. So mungkin dia akan hire psychometricians to come out with test ataupun dia akan membeli ujian-ujian yang memang sudah ada luar. Understand? Okay, kan faham yang lain? Because every psychologist, they have the knowledge of doing a test. So if you find that you wanted to involve in this full time, then you be a psychometrician. Okay, good. Right, next. Okay. One part of psychological assessment is through interview. Okay, kita nak assess a person. So you interview. So the interview is a method of how to gather information through communication and all this. Okay, so interview are very, as they have different purposes. Okay, the length of the interview session is very different and the nature of it. So it depends on the subject matter. So the quality of information obtained in an interview often depends on skills and the interview. For example, the assessing role or the study record, okay, and the ability to convey their genuineness, okay, their empathy, their humor, and so on. Now, why is this so important in psychological test and measurement? Sebab dalam interview, we will collecting data. Okay, kita akan collect the data. So daripada data, we will be interrogating again. Okay, the information you dapat biasanya when you cakap about interview, you akan dapat jawapan. So jawapan can be very wide, broad, different kind of answers. Now you as a psychometric ataupun a person incorrect the answer, you have another tools to interpret it. Maksudnya you convert data yang dalam banyak-banyak itu convert it into another method, which is convert into numerical, ataupun divide into categories. Dalam setiap kategori you can define jawapan yang ada dalam which category. Dan setiap kategori you have to label it dalam beberapa level. And those level you numeric. Daripada numeric you can convert it to your data. So what prosesnya? So process each and every process you need to learn. Ini you dah belajar dalam quantitative. I assume that way lah. Okay. So it is a very long process. Okay. Itu is a part of assessment. Now, other tools of psychology assessment is doing portfolio. Portfolio like contoh, you define or you categorize a person. It is a file containing product of person's work and measures an sample of ability or complete judgment. So you read it as category, portfolio, orang ni buat apa, yang buat apa. So you define it, you categorize it. Okay? So selain daripada itu can be access history data. Jadi you dapat record the past record of this person, memory record mungkin, okay, or therapy record, okay, or transcript or any analytics. Okay, so from there you can convert your data as well. Behavior observation, monitor the action, okay, through video ataupun electronic means, like video recording. Okay, that's one of the electronic means lah. Okay, video recording. So you do observation. Daripada observation you nampak tingkah laku. Daripada tingkah laku yang you dapat you categorize it and same process you put labeling. After label you transfer to numerical with new data and then you interpret it. So that is the process. So setiap proses itu kita lakukan. Okay, what else? Role play test. Okay, maksudnya assessments are directed to act, okay, lakon as if they were in a particular situation, okay, so useful in evaluating their skills, okay, berlakon like how to respond in this particular situation. Nampak lah tengok bagaimana dia akan merespon. So from there you will learn their responsive actions. Okay, so computer also can be a tool to assist test administration. And like contohnya online test, it is a test online, okay, and you can do scoring and can do interpretations. Okay, so benda-benda ini boleh digunakan sebagai psychological assessment. Okay, so scoring can be done on site, local processing maksudnya immediately on the spot, or at a central locations. Okay, maksudnya you kumpul everything and you convert it later on, central processing. Okay, now reports may come in the form of a simple scoring. Okay, extend simple scoring maksudnya like a scale of simple scoring. Okay, if everyone answer 5, so 5 times how many questions, so you dapat score dia. Extended report scoring is where you ada soalan, this paper A, you have another paper B, di mana dalam paper B you letakkan all the data, the jawapan, okay, and then buat kiraan dekat situ. Extended scoring report, okay, right? Ataupun interpretive report, maksudnya daripada data you dapat jawapannya ABC sahaja. So A refers to what? That one is interpretive report. B is what? Okay, C is what? Interpret. Okay, or consultative report. You have to consult, okay, to subject matter expert. Okay, what would be the interpretation, right? Or integrative maksudnya gabungan lah, gabungan daripada beberapa, like standard with interpretive ataupun you need consultative report. So these are those kinds of reports. Okay, so computer assisted psychological assessment (CAPA) and also computer adaptive (CAT) have allowed for tailor-made tests and built-in scoring. So ini adalah a system that psychologists can use, di mana semua jawapan tu can be calculated into the computer, okay, through a system, right? This one you can ask help. Sebab itu, as a psychometrician, it's not necessary that you do alone. Okay, you can help. You can ask help ataupun you hire a technician. Okay, or hire an IT analyst or IT system developer. Okay, comes together with you to develop the test. So that all can be automated dalam computer. Okay, right. So assessment is increasingly conducted through internet. Nowadays, everyone using internet. Di dalam internet pun banyak psychological tools. Okay, so it is an advantage lah. So what is the advantage? Greater access, especially kalau kita nak buat survey. We can distribute to so many people. People can answer at once. Kan? Okay, so you have greater access to potential users or potential respondent. Score interpretation are very quick. No need to calculate manually. Sebab tu ada SPSS. SPSS help you to interpret or get a score quicker. Okay. So cost tend to be lower, yeah, because you no need to travel, you no need to meet one by one. So cost dia lebih boleh dikurangkan. Okay. Facilities testing, otherwise isolated population and people with disabilities. So can facilitate this test. Okay, kepada orang yang susah untuk kita jangkau. Alright, ataupun orang yang with disability. People with disability, maybe through computerized test, they can, instead of using hand to answer, they can voice note to answer the question. Okay, so itu pun boleh berlaku. So this is an advantage lah. Right? Okay, so that is the advantage. Can you like explain what is the disadvantage? What could be the disadvantage of online? So far you did kan online test?
Ada macam-macam result.
Macam-macam result. Okay, sebab ramai orang menjawab kan? Ya. Amir?
Inconsistency.
What kind of inconsistency?
Macam dari segi teknikal kadang-kadang internet tak bagus, and then banyak masalah-masalah lah. Kadang-kadang dekat sana ada masalah.
Okay, I agree that if you say that inconsistency because of internet problem, yes. Okay, kadang-kadang internet down. So dia mungkin dia hanya jawab 5 soalan out of 10, only 5. And then to answer another 5 kosong. So we have to buang that respondent because we cannot calculate of answer. That is not a problem yet. Okay, the problem is where if you have the answer yang jauh sangat perbezaannya, okay, di mana ada orang score very high, another person will score very low, dan gap dia sangat besar. Now distributions of the gap is too big, too wide. Okay, so di sini kita boleh lihat mungkin apa itu bukan orang yang betul, okay, ataupun not a very targeted population, okay, alright. So mungkin soalan ni tak sesuai dengan this particular population, tapi sesuai sangat dengan the other population. So you need to identify lah, okay. So kadang-kadang internet test we can didistributekan kepada semua orang sampai kita pun bercelaru kan. Begitu. Okay, but the more the better sebenarnya. The more populations the better. So the computer can sort out. Ini kemana dan sebagainya. Kalau ada options tu lagi bagus. Options like saya hanya nak population di daerah, contohnya daerah Gombak saja ataupun daerah Kuala Selangor ni. Okay, so that is an option. So dari situ you can like very focus. So that's one of the advantage lah. Okay, right, good. I hope you are still there. Okay, now who, what, why, how, and where are soalan yang popular that we can ask. Okay, related to psychological testing also we can ask. Okay, who are the parties? Who are the people who involved in psychological testing? So of course we need to have a test developer lah, or psychometricians lah. Okay, tests are created for research. Kenapa kita buat ni? Sebab for research purpose. Okay, psychologist adalah orang yang membuat research untuk mencari jawapan kenapa orang ni berperangai begitu ataupun behave in such a way. So kita create a test. Okay, and it is for publication also. We come up with new knowledge, new insight. So the standard for educational and psychological testing covers issue related to test construction. So di sini nanti, okay, in this subject you going to learn about test construction, how to construct a test, how to create a test, how to evaluate a test, how to administer, dan sebagainya. Okay, ni baru topic 1 ya. We haven't go to each and every of this topic. So you need to be anticipate, oh kita akan belajar benda ni. Okay, alright. Nice. So who else are involved? The test user lah, your respondents. Okay, it can be from a very big group of people. Okay, so usually we have a guideline for them. So who should be administrating? Siapa akan buat mentadbirkan psychological test? Okay, many countries have no ethical. Etik tu kena ada. Okay, I hope that you all dah ambil psychological ethic kan? Ethic in psychology. Patutnya ada ethic on how to distribute the test. Okay, semua mesti mengikut guideline. Okay, there is no violations of the test. Okay, right? So yeah, have to follow the test. Okay, next one is taker. Okay, anyone who is subject of an assessment evaluation as a test taker. Orang yang membuat atau mengambil atau menjawab test. Okay, different number of variables at the time of testing. Okay, yeah, like I said just now, time is very important. For example, anxiety. Kalau dia waktu anxiety, you buat test. After the anxiety dah over, okay, you won't get any answer. Oh, tak ada anxiety orang ni. So, nothing to cerita. Okay, so that's why time of testing is very, very crucial also. Okay. Nothing in slide 16. What is slide 16? What is in your area? Hello.
Tak apa dengar tadi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Oh, there you go. Slide 16. Okay. Who else? Society yang akan involve. Okay, who are the society? The law decision court pun boleh terlibat di dalam test development. Ada party like company, organisation, macam mana these people can involve in your test assessment, in administrations or development ataupun interpretation. Sebab kalau sekiranya the test itself is memang khususnya untuk that organizations, the nature of the organizations, maka you kena melibatkan mereka. Okay, so companies can offer scoring ataupun interpretations. Kalau they are the subject matter expert, maka you boleh melibatkan mereka. Now, what type of setting? Okay, educational setting is where students typically undergo school ability test lah. Okay, buat ujian di sekolah. Okay, it's either SPM is school ability test, achievement test. Okay, SPM pun sama. Kita nak tengok tahap pencapaian pelajar. Okay, so the diagnostic test may be used to identify the area of interventions. Okay, which level are they below? Okay, I went out just now, is it? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. So this diagnostic test ada tujuannya untuk apa? Untuk identify intervention. Ya, Amir?
I can hear.
Can hear, ya? Okay. Right. Okay, so this kind of setting lah. So setting dia macam ni, ujian seperti yang biasa you hadapi. Sit down, ambil paper and pen, tulis, jawab. So from there, you can come up with the score. Daripada score tu is to identify whether you need to do intervention or not. Ini related to psychology as well. Not, maksudnya setting dia macam educational setting. Macam ni lah, rupa dalam gambar raja ni. Okay. Next, what else? Clinical setting, okay, which include like hospital, patient, private consultation, okay, or maybe you have the Freud so far, tapi yang itu tak boleh buat test lah. Itu lebih pada assessment tools, therapeutic, okay. So assessment tools are used to help to screen maksudnya to saringkan, okay, what level of mental health that you are facing with, okay. So screen for and diagnose your problem, your behavior problem. Another setting is counseling. Counseling, like for example, giving advice, consult the person. Okay, this kind of assessment is to improve your adjustment, productivity related to any psychological variables. Okay, so you boleh faham kan rupa clinical setting tu macam mana? Okay, imagine ya. Okay. Okay, mesti ada terapi ataupun clinical psychologist ke. So that kind of setting. Kalau counseling, ni macam counseling session. Kalau educational setting, macam test final exam like that. Okay, so that kind of setting. Alright, so psychological assessment boleh di dalam bentuk beberapa setting inilah. Okay, right. All we have geriatric setting. Geriatric is more onto kajian terhadap orang tua. Okay, like evaluate their cognitive level, psychological level, okay, how they can adapt, especially adapt to life, death, kehilangan, okay. So this kind of setting, all right. So or you can be a business and military setting, okay, all right. Ini lah sangat related to industrial psychology lah, business setting. Okay, di mana kita akan melihat dia achievement, dia aptitude. Aptitude maksudnya kajian saringan sebelum masuk ke dalam organization. Usually the government like SPA, diorang akan buat aptitude test, okay, to identify are you fit or not to the positions. Okay, tengok your interest. Okay, adakah you have the same interest in that particular job description, or your motivation level and satisfaction level. Okay, benda-benda ni lah yang kita akan lihat. So government organizational credentialing, this is include, okay, government licensing, certification. Usually psychological test, apabila kita develop a test, we need to go through training and need to be licensed. Okay, sekiranya ada license lagi kuat your test, lagi boleh dipercaya sebab somebody giving a license or certificate on top of that psychology tools. Okay, so a part of that, we also can get those organizational credentials from the attorney, daripada lawyer firm, daripada physicians could be doctors, okay, or psychologists. So that is why apabila a psychologist distribute ataupun conduct a test, it's supposed to be valid and reliable enough to take account as a diagnosis later on. Okay. Now, how the assessment can be conducted must be being ethical, kena ethical. Okay, which include you need to familiar the materials, ensure the room in which the test will be conducted are suitable, the setting is suitable, the environment is suitable. Need to have a report, okay, during administration report maksudnya relationship, okay, And usually the relationship that you build bukannya kawan-kawan ya. Okay, it should be examiner and examinee. Okay, psychologist dengan patient, that kind of rapport. Okay, how about with people yang disabled? Okay, people yang disabled, kita kena dapatkan test yang related to them lah, suitable for them. Okay, so need to have an alternate assessment. Okay, this is for to accommodate the disability. Okay, so you have to have an adaptations of the test. The procedures mungkin sangat berbeza. Okay, kalau kita memberi prosedur di mana you need to answer this within 1 hour. For people who are disability, okay, you need to give more extra time. Ataupun orang yang blind, okay, tak nampak, mungkin dia ada cara test yang lain. Contohnya using sense, okay, ataupun hearing. So you need to adapt with their needs as well. So this one you have to come up with a specific test lah. So where to go for informations on tests? Okay, so what you need to do untuk dapatkan informations? Kena boleh buat the manual. Okay, this is test manual. You can come up with a test manual. Okay, for example, how to answer the test. Okay, what kind of the important keywords. Okay, or you put it into a catalog supaya orang yang tidak faham, orang biasa-biasa faham. Okay, how to answer the test. Okay, you must have a reference like contoh rujuk. Okay, soalan-soalan ini berdasarkan what kind of books or references. Contoh mental in measurements yearbook test. Okay, so you have rujukan, right? Or you can refer to any other journal article related to subject matter. Okay. Right, and also you can referring or put it onto your online database. Okay, right. So mana di situ ada banyak test. Okay, a lot of abstract related to the test, and it's very useful for you to referring to. Okay, and for us psychologists, okay, of course we refer to APA. What is APA? American Psychological Association. Okay, kita pun ada database-nya. So these are the database. So other sources. These are other sources lah you can refer to. Right? Okay. So di dalam setiap of the test ada level of complexity. Ada yang sangat senang, ada yang sangat susah. Okay, yang senang you need minimal lah, level A, you need minimal training. Okay, tak nampak lah. Right, minimal training involve what? Reading simple directions, senang difahami. Okay, so when you go deeper, B, C, you require more technical thing. Okay, more skills, more theory to understand, and which also can covers a higher level of tests. Like for example, intelligence test, personality test, kena ada higher level of administrations lah or knowledge onto the expertise. Okay, all right. So I think that's all. Any questions so far? I hope that saya cakap-cakap ni tak lag. Okay. So that's how we covered. Okay. How do you feel about doing psychological testing and measurement?
Interesting and fun.
Okay, good, Sarah. Yang lain?
Scary.
Apa tu, Syazwan?
Scary. Menakutkan.
I can't hear you. Oh, scary. Okay, I noted that. Now, not only Syazwan will feel that way. I'm not sure how the others feel. Me, myself, initially, pada awalnya when I learned this subject, when saya belajar dulu, okay, I also feel scared like what Syazwan feel. Okay, wow, so many things. But along the way, when you understand, the very important thing is when you understand, when you know the process, the flow itself is very interesting, like what Sarah said. Yes, it's interesting. Sebab why? No one else except you as a psychologist can do this. Okay, right? Ni adalah kepakaran kita. Okay, which we supposed to manage. Okay, so kena mahir lah, okay, in doing this. So that is why you need to know the flow. Once you know the flow, it's very easy already. Okay, you know what to do. Once you know what to do, you can actually develop. Okay, you can actually develop the test that what you want to kaji lah. So especially mereka yang tengah buat project paper ataupun akan buat project paper, you need to understand to find the correct tools, correct instrument. Okay, most of the students ataupun pengkaji researcher, they will adopt soalan daripada luar. Okay, when you adopt a questionnaire from other people, make sure questionnaire tu betul-betul related to the things that you nak kaji. Okay, all right. Okay, so a lot of things you need to consider: the culture, the setting, yeah, how to administer. Sekiranya benda tu tidak menepati benda yang you nak kaji, therefore you need to create your own. You need to develop your own questionnaire. When you develop your own questionnaire, that's where you need to have those skills lah. Perlu ada skills inilah. Okay, don't worry. You have 1 semester untuk belajar. 1 semester for you to understand, and you have your whole life to do this. Okay. Coming from software engineering is really different type of testing. Is it? What do you learn in software engineering about testing and measurement? I'm not from a software engineering background, so I'm not sure what you learn there. Apa you belajar dekat situ? Mesti buat test of your prototype, betul? Mengkaji prototype tu berjalan dengan bagus ke tak? Alpha, beta testing. Wow. Ini kena prototyping testing kan? Okay. Whether the prototype that you develop tu can do the test or not. Right? Whether you can measure the things or not. Essentially, the concept is similar lah. Hanya kita lebih pada psychology. Psychological related. Okay. All right. I think that's all. Thank you very much. The attendance of 16 of you here. Okay, ketua cohort cuba tengok your friends semua ada tak? Saya tak dapat access your e-learning. Therefore, I can't do the attendance slip dekat e-learning. Okay, but I need the help of your ketua cohort to identify, okay, whether all are here or not. Okay, nanti report to me, ketua cohort, siapa yang tak ada. Thank you. I think that's all from me today. Thank you very much. I will see you again next week. So those who are actually in the campus, we will do physical lah. Alright, then yang lain tu kita buat hybrid. Hybrid maksudnya stream lah. Alright, thank you. See you again next week on Thursday. Maybe we should start at 9:30, no more 10. Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Right, thank you very much. Bye. Thanks.